Einen wunderschönen Willkommen. Neuer Abend, alte Runde. Ne? Willkommen zurück zu The Hand of Glory. Ich habe mich entschlossen, heute weiter zu spielen. Einfach, damit wir das auch mal vielleicht zu Ende bringen. Gefühlt scheint sich das alles zuzuspitzen und ich bin guter Dinge, dass wir es heute schaffen werden. Guten Abend auf jeden Fall. Abend Flo, Abend Litanda, Abend Wolli. Und wir waren hier letztens ist halt gestern, ne, gesehen, hier stehen geblieben. Und ja, keine Ahnung. Was haben wir denn hier zur Auswahl? Wir könnten wahrscheinlich hier gehen. Ich könnte es aber auch lassen, ne, weil es gibt Ärger. Achtung. Und alles gut. Alles gut, das war nur der Bauch. Orangenmarmeladentoast mit Honig. So, also das geht nichts. Tickler. Oh, warte mal.
Tech, shoot or tranquilizer.
It could be dangerous. Are you sure?
We've got to try, or we'll never get away from this cliff alive.
Oh, es hat nicht geklappt.
It looks even more furious than before.
After a shot with this narcotic? No. It should have felt this one. Big time. Enough to slow it down, at least.
That's something. But now you have to take Olive and get him out of here.
Can you handle things alone?
Defeating a raging monster with a scarf. Ah, it's a piece of cake for Lazarus Bundy.
I have to admit, Cretin, I underestimated you.
Alone again to face death. After all, I've carried it inside me for months now, and I've grown accustomed to the feeling.
Okay, wir haben Schal, hat er gesagt, ne? Warte mal. Wir haben keinen Schal. Ich speichere mal kurz ab. So, speichern. So. Und jetzt. Oh. Vielleicht doch. Okay. Oh, da sind Eicheln runtergefallen.
Despite the dose of tranquilizer in the headbutt, the monster was still standing. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that.
Warte mal.
A good idea, but I had to come up with a system to fill the acorn.
Na, mit der
Would the
Spritze.
syringe have been useful to inject something into the acorn?
Ja. Komm hier. Und...
The needle couldn't penetrate the acorn.
Och, hör auf. Jetzt kommt die Nadel da nicht durch. Was ist das hier? Ein Lenkergummi? Wo kommt denn der Lenkergummi auf einmal her?
I thought it was better to look for another solution. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that.
Ich habe ja gespeichert.
I needed to think things through before throwing that last acorn at it. To that point, I'd only managed to make it gain weight for Christmas dinner. That was a really great plan.
Monte. Also das zum Essen. So, jetzt, pass auf.
My last chance to knock that animal out. There were moments of agonizing waiting.
Schläft nur. Ist alles in Ordnung mit dem Tier? Es schläft nur.
I saw the helicopter vanishing in the distance, in the direction of San Leo. Surely Olive would be fine.
Ach, hör auf.
I couldn't say the same for me. The beast seemed determined to charge, and yet it resisted. Maybe after the previous blow it had learned to fear me. There was nothing I could do to stop that.
Das schläft nur.
Hey, Cretin, would you ever have believed that forgetting a shovel would save your life?
Ach, sie hat eine Schaufel vergessen. Wir haben die Schaufel
I
vergessen.
got rid of that beast in an almost miraculous way. Still amped on adrenaline, I started digging the ground at the foot of the marked tree. And finally, right before my eyes, was the coffin where Count Cagliostro had rested for centuries. The weight of history crushed me like an insect.
Ist aber gut zugenagelt worden. Haben wir irgendwas zum Aufnageln hier? Nee, haben wir nicht. Ist
A bit
egal.
intimidated by what I might find inside the coffin, I tried to move the lid. There was no trace of Cagliostro's body. Centuries had passed, but not so many to justify the absence of any remains. After the initial shock, I noticed another detail. The coffin was completely made of gold.
Na, nicht ganz. Hier ist Holz.
As soon as I picked up the bracelet, the wood on which it had rested for centuries started to react. I'd witnessed plenty of strange things in those days, but this time I was speechless. What kind of power did that tiny object possess? Did it turn everything it touched into wood? While I prayed not to end up like Pinocchio, I was warned by my sixth sense. I felt that there was something else to find inside that coffin.
Vielleicht.
To the touch, I thought I felt a tiny crack. It was too regular to be random.
Ich komme hier
It was too regular to be
nicht raus. Okay.
I had never figured out what the second key someone made me find in Miami was for. Was it possible that all that time I'd gone walkabout with a centuries-old heirloom in my pocket? The secret alcove was hiding a medallion with an engraved symbol that resembled a pentacle. I'd seen many of them at crime scenes, but that medallion was slightly different. Plus, it emitted strange vibrations, similar to those of the mirror found on the Site Lalique. Whatever its meaning, that was the object I needed to find.
Okay,
I must
jetzt haben
ask
wir
you
das.
to turn around without making any sudden moves, please.
Father Carlo!
Ach, hör auf.
I can't believe it. So you're involved in all this as well?
Please, don't blame me for this. I have been forced to do everything they ordered me to do. Do you think I'm proud of my actions? That I'm glad to have contributed to the murders of poor innocent souls? I had to deny my faith.
Then why? You could refuse to cooperate.
My sister Marie keeps Professor Visconti under control for them through the use of drugs and infusions. But they keep an eye on her in the meantime as well. If I backed out of this, they would have killed her after inflicting unspeakable torture. They're masters of mental manipulation, and
You're a perfect example of that. I bet you weren't so confused before.
I must not waste time. You have to give me what you discovered inside Cagliostro's coffin. Right now.
I understand. At this point, I don't think I have any other choice. Why do they want this bracelet? What are they trying to do?
The bracelet is able to stop their plans, and they don't want the risk. They desperately looked for it for centuries, slowed down by the disappearance of the scrolls and that filthy beast left as guard by the Polish soldiers.
It can stop their plans. So there's a hope. You gotta help me. Together we...
You still don't understand. They're in my head, constantly talking, sneaking in thoughts that are not mine. I can hear them even now. Shoot, Carlo. Shoot now. Shoot! I'm sorry.
Oh.
When I woke up, I instantly recognized where I was. Carlo left me for dead, rotting inside Cagliostro's coffin. The next thought was that I was still alive.
Oh, das
I
donnert
clearly heard the
draußen.
bullet whistling past my ear, missing me by only a few inches. After all, Carlo certainly wasn't a trained killer, and he didn't realize I was knocked unconscious by the hit on my head, not by the shot. My first instinct was to start shouting like crazy, but the little air I had left was too precious to waste like that. The shortage of oxygen was also the reason I couldn't wait for Tekla to come back. I had to move.
Hat man das gehört? Es donnert hier draußen gerade. Okay, ich glaube, ich muss mich beeilen. Wir haben nicht so viel Luft. Außerdem muss ich mich beeilen, es donnert draußen. Aber richtig mörderisch. Das war bestimmt der Hinweis mit der Unwetterwarnung hier für die Region. Ja, das kam aus dem Westen. nee, das ist, glaube ich, das Unwetter, was gerade hier rüberkommt. So, was haben wir? Säure.
That was a really good idea.
Ja, da war's.
My hope suffered a tough blow. The spray bottle spewed only air, and not the liquid squirt I expected.
Na toll.
I looked at the device and realized what the problem was. I was forced to use it at a very specific angle inside the coffin, and the straw wasn't able to catch the few drops of fluid remaining. I tried every possible position, but was too restricted in my movements. I thought it was better to look for... The spray bottle was made with thick glass, while the internal straw was made of a metal alloy.
Metall.
The magnet wasn't powerful enough to move the straw from the outside, and it was too big to fit into the container.
Okay. Ich glaube, ich würde sterben. Warte mal.
Pressing it firmly, the compartment snapped closed.
Okay. Jetzt habe ich magnetisches Pulver.
It was my get-out-of-jail-free card from that suffocating prison.
Das ist ja clever. Es ist ein MacGyver, ist das.
Air.
Das ist ein
I can't believe
MacGyver.
it. Did I really get out of that hole unharmed?
After all the obstacles you've overcome, you still doubt your skills?
Oh.
How did you find me?
It wasn't him who found you.
Aww.
All right. Now I'm even more confused than ever.
I
Ich
told
auch.
you I would go to Rome, and I must say, I got there just in time.
I already thanked you for saving me, but now we demand some answers.
What is your actual role? And why did you drag me into this madness?
My role is to ensure that events follow the established course, as predicted by the Grand Master of the order to which I belong.
A cult of fanatics.
Galilei, Bach, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Newton, and many others. Do you really want to define them as
Freimaurer
fanatics?
oder was?
How should we define them then?
Brothers, appointed to remove the veil of ignorance from the eyes of fools, to push society towards progress, transmuting this world from vile lead to noble gold. United under the symbol of the rose and the cross.
The rose and the cross again. I'd come across them many times during my
Doch nicht
investigation.
Freimaurer.
And now that I think about it, Duke Ravendish's company was renamed Fallen Rose.
The Ravendish family has always belonged to us, but the Duke was lost. You contributed to bringing him back to us, to his rightful place. The Fallen Rose, or more accurately, the Rosa Defecta, is nothing more than an abomination, founded by Radwed after he betrayed his faith against us. A twin cult that shares the same ideals, but which, in fact, promotes only self-interest rather than the good of humankind. For centuries, they've been searching for Cagliostro. Fortunately, the Count's grave was discovered by our adepts, the Polish soldiers you tracked down. Radwed and his men hunted and exterminated them, but the scrolls were already safe, hidden, until now.
Wait, are you actually telling me that Radwed was already alive in 1795?
He went by the name Edward at the time. Now show me the law seal.
That is the Sigillum Emeth.
The last still active seal, created by the Grand Master Cagliostro, before he was framed by the conspiracy of the Inquisition and that fraud Balsamo. The only defense you'll have against Radwed and his Hand of Glory.
An artifact with unlimited power, used in the past to unleash the fury of the seas and destroy an entire fleet, the Invincible Armada.
Dee realized he had raised forces he couldn't control and destroyed it. But just think what an individual like Radwed might engineer in possession of such power.
I still don't understand how the baby's kidnapping fits into all this.
We were sure Radwed would use the flesh of the unborn, ripped from the suffering mother, to produce the Hand of Glory. But he must have found another way.
I read that the hand can also be created using the fat of a hanged man who died in hatred.
Mulzberg oozed hate from every pore. The little dots are starting to connect, but there's something else. In Cagliostro's coffin, I found a golden bracelet shaped like a snake. Now, Carlo knew about its existence, and he demanded me to give it to him.
Cagliostro was the bearer of our initiation secrets, and he knew that sooner or later someone would try to bring back the Hand of Glory. Consequently, he created the sigillium as a shield, and the bracelet as a sword.
Are you saying the bracelet is capable of blocking the hand's powers?
That's why the wood of the coffin turned to gold when I removed the bracelet. The ornament had blocked the transformation process. Well, perfect.
What? You just said you had to turn it over to Father Carlo.
I threw him a bracelet. The same one used by Alice to track me down and bring you here, I suppose.
The tracking bracelet.
That thing had been eroded by brackish water, traveled halfway around the world, and had even spent a few hours tied to the tailpipe of a vintage car. It looked like an antique piece at that point. The fact that Carlo isn't exactly a smart guy helped as well.
Das ist ja cool.
Surprising. Really surprising. I knew I'd chosen well.
Chosen? For what?
Every master is obliged to personally select the new members of the Order. You're bright, resolute, and at your best, you'd be a valid ally.
But above all, I'm blackmailable.
What are you talking about?
You can't deny you felt very good after you inhaled my gas. Stronger, more vigorous. Your lungs saturated with clean air.
Also doch.
Wait, you...
I can make this effect permanent. My initiation gift to you, if you'll choose to join us.
Lars.
Alice, you said the doctor saved you in Rome. How?
He claims that Marie wanted to kill me overnight, so...
So he put her to rest. And that's not all. You knew where Kathrin and the kid were from the beginning. You delivered the picture that led us to Radwed's factory and gave me the clues to solve the map on the Site Lalique. You knew everything. And yet you preferred pursuing this crazy quest rather than stopping Radwed.
Radwed is not an enemy we can face alone.
He knows all your dirty tricks.
I'd like you to reflect well before refusing such an offer. I won't give you a second chance.
Lars, if he can really...
Let's go, Alice.
So be it. May the rose and the cross guide the last actions you'll take in your existence.
Oh, hat's nicht angenommen. Hätte ihm das Leben schenken können gerade. War ja sowas wie geheilt.
Little things, right? See you soon, Lazarus.
Hä? Ach so. Hat sich bedankt gerade eben. Ich glaube, Twitch hatte gerade Schluck auf. Bis jetzt läuft es ja eigentlich. Aber er hat eine Verzögerung von 17 Sekunden. 17.
Oh, here you are, finally.
Apologies. I went to freshen up and change my clothes.
But you've always worn the same clothes since this whole story started.
Do you think it was easy to find a short-sleeve coat with a hole for letting the scarf pass through? I had to order a supply of them. Besides, you also... nothing. You look nice, you know?
Anyway, I have bad news. Radwed and his men must have discovered your deception and disabled the tracking bracelet. We know they reached West Rotfield, then nothing.
So, are we stuck?
Not really. Do you remember the doctor's references to the rose and the cross? I started researching the territory using the two terms as keywords, and I almost immediately got feedback. Of course, the source is not exactly reliable. We're talking about conspiracy websites.
Are you referring to Wheelo's blog?
No, a guy named Rupert Saucer, the classic zealot who lives in a trailer isolated from the world. I would usually rule out such a result, but in this case, Saucer claims that in an exclusive local cemetery, the King Lyrie, an ancient Rosicrucian temple, is hidden.
Rosicrucian? Is that the name of the doctor's sect?
The information I found refers to a group of enlightened intellectuals of which very little is known. Guess who's listed among the alleged Grand Masters of the Order, though?
Count Cagliostro.
As you would say, bingo.
We'll have time later to investigate the Rosicrucian further, but for now we have to inspect the King Lyrie.
Wait. I think you should keep this.
The scrying mirror. Are you sure?
I don't feel like walking around with some cursed ancient artifact in my pocket. And now let's go.
And so that was the place where it would all end. It made me miss the brackish air of Miami, or the shining sun of San Leo. Well, let's take a look.
Also ich weiß nicht, was passiert ist. Also ich sehe jetzt nur hier in OBS, dass eine Verzögerung von 17 Sekunden ist. Also jetzt ist gerade Wollys Text da, ne? Nur damit man das nachzählen kann. 17 Sekunden. Ich denke mir mal, dass irgendwo wahrscheinlich möglicherweise irgendwo Internet kurzzeitig mal weg war. Wir haben ja das Unwetter hier gerade rumflattern. Und der Rechner selber hier, beziehungsweise OBS, kann ja cachen. Und das ist wahrscheinlich auch das, was passiert ist. Hat gecached den ganzen Stream und hat dann, als es dann wieder die Verstopfung weg war, den Rest rausgedrückt. Deswegen kam das dann nachher mit einem Mal. Hier, ich habe 10 Frames. Das ist vom Start noch, die ausgelassen worden sind. Ansonsten gar nichts. Also der Rechner selber hat gar nichts mitgekriegt. Aber scheinbar eben halt ihr. Gucken wir mal. Ich schaue mal, wie wir das hier mit den 17 Sekunden hinkriegen. Das ist natürlich eine ganz schöne Menge. Ja, das ist ja wie in den Alpen, ne? Mit dem Echo sprechen dann nachher. Okay, okay, ohne Neuland. Dann war es wahrscheinlich genau das. Also, Hintergrund ist diese seltsame Gestalt, der alte Mann, ne, der hat Alice gerettet, nur mal nochmal zusammengefasst, denn die Dame unten, die so freundlich zu uns war, die wollte uns eigentlich umbringen. Wahrscheinlich hat sie nämlich aufgepasst und war von dem Anti-Orden. Ne? Da drücke ich dir die Daumen morgen für die Impfung und für die nächsten Tage wenig Nebeneffekte. Ne? Also ganz normal, vielleicht ein bisschen müde, aber eben halt alles soweit in Ordnung. Deswegen gute Nacht, Catalina. Genau, bei 17 Sekunden können wir auch ganz langsam schreiben. Gut, und Lazarus, falls man das nicht mitbekommen hat, hatte ja das Angebot bekommen, ja, na, du sollst ja in unseren Orden aufgenommen werden, du bist halt ein Kandidat, weil der ascht dir aber was zusammen. Du bist ein guter Kandidat und ich habe mich richtig entschieden, das Gas, was er uns angesprüht hatte, da in England, nee, in Amerika, ne, hat er uns doch mit Gas besprüht und dadurch sind wir kräftiger geworden, beziehungsweise gesund, temporär. Und er könnte das permanent machen. Abend, Lilifee, und ja, viel Spaß beim Nachgucken. Ne? Die Lütte, also die große Lütte meinst du, ne? Die, ja, den Einstich bisher. Mal gucken, wie es morgen ist. Ne? Nebenwirkung meine ich das ganz Normale. Also das, ne? Einfach ein bisschen müde. Nix weiter. Nicht die anderen Sachen mit Kopfschmerzen und so. Da hast du recht, das Stress schon genug. So, mit O, wir haben ein Kreuz.
I wondered if it was linked in any way to the Rosicrucian, but the lack of any iconography suggested the opposite. Unfortunately, it was locked, and I couldn't see anything useful in the side compartment. That tombstone had to be a work in progress, judging by the adjacent toolbox and the absence of any engravings. As much as I was tempted to do that, I had no reason to.
Noch nicht. So, wir haben hier eine Kamera.
The graveyard was equipped with a surveillance system. No zombification. There must have been a black humor lover around here. Or, at least, I hope that was the case.
Ups. Ja, wollte ich sowieso. Mal gucken, speichert er das? Jawohl, sehr schön. So. Ein Leichenwagen.
The hearse was empty, so according to superstition, it wouldn't bring me any misfortune. Or is it the opposite? The typical pile of ashes of an obsessive smoker. I had produced many of them throughout my years of addiction.
Oh ja, ich auch. Ich auch. Bestatterin, ach so.
Alice, let's try to talk to the Undertaker. Good morning.
This must be my lucky day. I haven't seen so many visitors for years.
I thought cemeteries received hundreds of people a day.
Not this one, Beefcake. Only a few people can afford to tread the precious pebbles of the King Larry.
Beefcake, huh? Well, she had better taste than she looked.
As a result, I'm stuck here alone all the livelong day. It's deadly boring. Do you get it?
Listen, we'd really like to chat with you, but we're in a rush. We're trying to find some crypts, ancient crypts to be precise.
Do you see that tree? Follow that path and you'll find them in front of you.
Thanks.
Hey, wait for me. Wow, this cemetery's got something about it.
The farther we proceed, it gradually becomes more ancient.
Oh. Ach, guck an.
What's wrong?
I have good news and bad news.
Warum hat der
You see
Pustel?
those two in the trap?
The blonde and the goon? Don't
Die
tell me
Stiche
that.
von den Bienen.
Eugene and Mama, Radwed's henchmen I faced in Miami.
Ouch.
Hey, relax. This guy's already handled them successfully a couple of times.
No, Lars, you're on my foot.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And the good news?
Well, at least they saved us the trouble of searching for the crypt. It's surely the one they are guarding.
Entering will be more difficult than expected.
Fortunately, neither of them shines with acumen. With the right idea and a bit of luck, we can make it.
We have to find a way to distract them and open the crypt as fast as we can.
A two-phase plan. I like it.
It'll be quicker if we split the tasks. You take care of the crypt, I'll deal with those two.
You're crazy. I can't let you do it. Even if Mama looks like a pig with a wig, she has no scruples.
Pig with a wig.
And if she sees you...
Listen, they're forced to stay in the vicinity of the crypt, right? So if I keep my distance, I won't endanger myself. You go back to Quentin's pub and find a way to access the crypt. I'll try to push them as far as possible from the area. From intern to action hero in no time, right?
Alice,
Get out of here before I change my mind.
A pig with a wig.
be careful, okay?
What's the big deal? Distracting two killers? Child's play.
Genau. Was ist da schon bei? Vor allem, wenn die eine aussieht wie ein Pig in a wig oder with a wig. Ach, das sind wieder diese schwer oder kaum übersetzbaren Sprüche, ne? So, was haben wir denn jetzt hier? Was macht sie denn da draus?
Without that wedge, the tombstone would fall to the ground. Simple. I'd even say Spartan. Weird considering the standards of the Lyri. I'll take the wire.
Ich denke, es ist abgeschlossen. Oh, es ist sehr übersichtlich. Das ist gut. Warte mal, vielleicht können wir ja... Ich glaube, wir können.
Not a great idea.
Okay, wir können nicht.
A surveillance camera. This one in particular looks defective and captures nothing. But there could be others. I could use them to dig up information on our enemies. I have to access the recordings. It's probably just some silliness put there by children. Or a smartass.
Okay.